Tim.
So Nikita, you said you learn the most from fights like that. What do you think you'll take away from that?
Just tactics, not rushing so much, and yeah, just being more patient, I guess.
Nikita, you said it the other day, you wanted that one punch knockout. Didn't get that, but you had some valuable, I guess, minutes in the ring, which maybe you hadn't had in the previous two fights. How important is that going forward?
Well, I think, yeah, the minutes is what's probably the most important thing, and actually being in a ring and facing someone that actually lands a few shots on you and pushes you back. Yeah, it's stuff that you learn. Like the sparring sessions I had that were the toughest and that put me on the back foot. They're the ones that I grew from. I was constantly looking back at my tapes. I was sort of like kind of picking myself apart, trying to find all my weaknesses, and I'm going to be doing the same thing with this fight. I'll be picking myself apart, being very critical of every mistake I made, everything that worked, and moving from there.
Did he hurt you at all?
No, he didn't necessarily hurt me, but he did have some weight to his punches. But yeah, it was tough.
Did you enjoy that more than the other fights you've had at this sort of level? Was it good to be involved in a scrap?
Yeah. In terms of enjoyment, it's kind of like a bittersweet moment. Like it's good in the sense that you're kind of facing adversity and you've overcome it. But it's also very sweet when you finish the fight off quickly and get it over and done with. But as well, like there is so much to learn from this, and I gotta favour these kind of experiences more than the quick ones.
Does he give you confidence that even under had you big shots on you, and like you didn't go down or anything, you still come out with a quite convincing win? Does that give you confidence going forward?
Yeah, well, there's also things to learn. There's things to work on, like even just preparing my face more for punches, like conditioning my face. I've been conditioning my knuckles, conditioning my body, but I haven't so much been conditioning my jaw, conditioning my face as much. So there's so much to work on, and so early in my career, so early back in boxing. So you've got to take things one step at a time and go from there.
Glenn, your thoughts just on the fight?
I guess from our team perspective, and from George and Matty and Trenty, was we always wanted deep down for Nikita to do some rounds, because that's what it's about. It's about testing yourself with some adversity, and credit to Ben Horn for putting on the show he did tonight. He dug deep, and I mean, it was an interesting lead up for us for this fight. It wasn't all roses for us, and Nikita had some adversity to work through, and we soldiered on. And I think it's probably a prudent time to give Nikita a bit of a spell, considering that he comes from an 8-year retirement straight into elite level fighting and hasn't had a break since. So we've spoken about it with Georgie, and we've agreed that Nikita won't fight again now probably until October. So he'll have a good few weeks, possibly even a month, just to go and relax. We'll get a few things tidied up on him. He's got a nice sore right ear there where there's a bit of cartilage come off the bone, so we'll get that sorted with the surgeons. And he loves it. He said, no, let him keep it for a bit longer. That's the sort of guy he is. But I do think mentally for Nikita, I don't really know anyone else that's ever done that, been out of the sport for so long, and then to come back at this level. And these guys and our team, we just keep working him. And I think it's a smart thing to do now is let him have a break, regain some fitness and just general health. Forget boxing, and we'll be back in October ready to go on another Georgie No Limit show.
Nikita, can you tell us about the adversity that Nicolette's talking about?
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Rather than, look, about 10 days ago, the ear injury came to fruition, and he was quite sick from it, even to the point with some balance, and the cartilage, the hard cartilage on the bone of the ear had separated from sparring. So about 3 days later, about a week out, we actually had a surgical procedure done on it because it was quite sore and very inflamed. And so it was a smart thing to do, and we got clearance from our team doctors to say that it wouldn't stop the fight, it might be very sore. And we only had the sutures taken out just a couple of days ago.
Last Friday.
Yeah, last Friday. So it's reopened, and we expected that, and so did the surgeons. So Nikita will go in on Friday and have that surgery done correctly and cleaned up, and this cartilage attached back onto the bone. And that month will give him ample time for that to heal. on top of that, during that process, the antibiotic process actually backfired on us because he had quite strong antibiotics for that surgical procedure, made him very sick, and he went downhill very quickly in terms of fitness and respiration, trying to train and really struggling from that. This is, we're only talking 1 week ago. But we don't discuss that pre-fight because it shouldn't be a determining factor. And so for Nikita, he just said to me, day by day, we put a program in place with our team doctors, and we all spoke about it, and we just let him get better. It was a pretty simple thing, and all good. I mean, the ear's no problem. We know we can fix that. But I think mentally, it's a good time for giving a little spell, and No Limits are fully supportive of that. So you'll see him back in October.
Was there any consideration given to postponing or putting it off?
I think I mentioned it to him once, and I got told to poke me head up my ass. He doesn't postpone. He doesn't cancel. He would have gone in there with a cauliflower ear and a headband on if he had to.
Yeah, the doctors were suggesting it.
Yeah, the doctors were quite keen on him not fighting.
But there was just too much at stake.
Yeah,
The promotion, everything the No Limit did for this fight is you can't kind of cancel a week before.
Yeah, and we understand the commitment that goes into these events. Like you said tonight, the No Limit show is just as good as it gets, and nobody wants to not be on this platform, including this phone call. So yeah, look, I'm proud of him. The fact that he showed that ability and that adversity. And to be honest, from me looking in tonight, from about the end of the second round, I could see he was a little bit down, but he just kept on going back out there, and he took care of it and won the majority of the fight. But credit to the other bloke too, because he put on a cracker of a show.
Nikita Warren talked about doing it again. Are you open to the prospect of a rematch?
Yeah, of course.
Is that October? Is the rematch?
No, that won't be October.
No,
He hasn't
you've got
asked me
someone
yet.
else lined up.
I don't do rematches. So, but that we'll talk about that with Matty and George.
Glenn's the boss. I'm just a soldier. I listen to his orders.
Look, it may be an opportunity for us, and the crowd might like it. But there are lots of great options that Matty and George and Trenny and I have talked about for the roadmap forward. So yeah, we'll see. It'll go back into the mix, but and we're very grateful to those guys because they did put their hand up when no one else wanted this fight. And credit to them. I thought it was a cracker of a fight. I loved it.
Nikita, I think it went a fair bit longer than most people think. What made Ben so hard to fight?
It was awkward. It was one of those fighters that is not a really typical orthodox boxer. He kind of lunges in with his punches. He comes in with his head down. Sometimes the awkward fighter is just the hardest to deal with, and he was one of them.
I think in the final rounds, I think I overheard him say, "Come with me, Nikita," or something like that. Does that type of chat during a fight fuel you at all, or did you hear
I
it?
wasn't really listening to it. I could hear him talk, but it was kind of
They only got one ear.
Was balance a problem in this fight?
Yeah, would you hear?
No, not really. Well, I felt it kind of like pop when the punch hit, and I could feel like the liquid blood kind of coming down. But there was never an instance where my hearing was aided or there was kind of any discomfort with it. I could just feel kind of blood drop rushing down.
That moment in the final round when he stunned you, I think all these guys' hearts dropped. What was going through your head at that point?
Was that like the very last like flurry? Oh, just keep going. Let's straight. he got a little bit better of it, but that's boxing.
Does Nikita not knocking someone straight out make it a bit easy to make fights in the future now? Does it open up a bigger pool of people who might not be as worried getting in?
Well, look, I sure hope so. I think one of the things that we've seen from the previous fights is a lot of guys talk shit on social media, especially straight after a fight. We'll just see if they can back it up. So hopefully some of them guys are back on social media and calling out Nikita again. And if they are, we'll give you a call, boys. And this time we look forward to them answering and hopefully taking up the challenge because, tonight was a great fight for Nikita. I thought we really want to see the growth of him. We joke about wanting to see more rounds out of him. We got that tonight, and he showed that in a 6-round fight, when he goes the distance, he's still very entertaining to watch. And You know, the Horton Pavilion, they were well and truly up on their feet, and I think it's really re-establishing itself as the premier boxing spot for Sydney. So, you know, we really had a great night here. There was some great performances, and Nikita really topped it off tonight.
Was there a stage in the fight where you realised you were going 6 rounds? Because at first he looked a little bit on his feet. I thought it might have been 1 or 2, but then as time went on,
Honestly, after the first round, I was like, yeah, this is going to go the distance. Kind of, you can take a punch, don't rush, and just take your time. He's got a solid head.
yeah. Well, his corners instructing the uppercut. Did you feel that was coming at you and you couldn't stop it, or?
Didn't need many uppercuts.
No, he was more holding onto my hands.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
He's
Glenn, I
heading
saw Glenn in the corner. Like,
Yeah.
It was a real scrap, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We haven't seen a good 6-round scrap like that for a long time. That was great.
Quite messy.
Yeah, we love that. Messi's good, and a bit of blood in his arm.
Yeah. Dream come true.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.